Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Theus here, and welcome back to another movie review, and welcome back to another Fast and Furious movie review in the marathon leading up to Fast 10 or Fast X. Still haven't figured out what to call it yet, but who knows. So yeah, I'm here today to review Too Fast, Too Furious. Stupid title, by the way. I'll talk more about that later. So Too Fast, Too Furious came out in the year 2003, the same year as Return of the King and Kill Bill and Finding Nemo and Pirates of the Caribbean came out. And is directed by John Singleton and stars Paul Walker, Tyrese Gibson, Cole Hauser, Eva Mendes, Lucas Tessera, sadly no Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, and Jordana Brewster in this, which I will talk about later in the review. So the plot for Too Fast, Too Furious, it tells the story of O'Connor, who is now moving to who now moved from Los Angeles to Miami and wants to make a life there. And then he meets up with his childhood friend, Roman Bridger, who they both used to be enemy. They both actually became enemies for some reason. And then during like after Brian participated in the street racing, he gets interrogated by the cops and temporarily took off his LAPD badge and must be able to and must be put on forced into a mission to stop this drug lord in order to not be put to jail. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the plot. So yeah, so Too Fast Too Furious is a pretty divisive movie. But overall, this movie is actually panned by critics. But by critics, one of the most panned films in the Fast and Furious franchise. It's either it's between this and Fast and Furious 2009 that are among the most critically panned Fast and Furious movies. So yeah, if you just for a quick callback on my thoughts on the first Fast and Furious movie, I still like the movie thing about it, even if it's not as good as I remember it being. I mean, the story is really hard to follow. But the movie is just but I really enjoyed the movie, especially for its cheesy 2000s action. Yeah. But yeah, now we've moved on to other characters with Brian O'Connor still being the lead character, just like he was in the first film. And yeah, now leading up to this film, I have reviewed Too Fast, this turbocharged, that whatever, like this 5 minute short. Yeah, earlier on YouTube, like before I watched this one, like a few hours before, yeah, I watched the Turbo Prelude, the turbocharged prelude to Do Fast Too Furious. I can't remember the exact title. Honestly, I could not care less about that short. I think it is pointless. I actually gave up like halfway through because I just didn't care. Basically, that short is just about O'Connor traveling from Los Angeles to Miami to quote unquote set up for Too Fast Too Furious, but it's just him like traveling. So that was pointless. So maybe the beginning of this movie just should have shown both like Brian just moving from Los Angeles to Miami as the start of the film, like itself making that pointless short. But oh boy, that's not the only short that exists apparently. I don't know if I want to watch Los Banderos or whatever you call that one. Like I don't feel like watching these Fast and Furious shorts because there's a waste of time. So I'm probably not gonna watch Los Banderos because they're just gonna waste my time. But yeah, watching Turbocharged is such a waste of time. But on to the quote unquote main event of that setup short, Too Fast Too Furious. So I will admit, I kind of thought this movie was pretty solid when I first saw this movie. No, not when I first saw it because I didn't really care for it back then. What I did by Fast and Furious review marathon lead up to F9, I actually gave this one a pretty positive rating. I thought it was solid. I really enjoyed it. The car chases scenes were a lot more fun. I mean, I just had a lot of fun with it. And keep in mind, people, I was actually a lot more generous to the Fast and Furious franchise than probably what I expect from now. Yeah, I probably won't be as generous to this franchise as I was back then because I'm keeping I'm keeping a more open mind when it comes to me watching these films, and yeah, Too Fast Too Furious unfortunately was not very good. Yeah, this movie did not age well. I admit, yeah. Back then, I actually didn't really get the hate for this film. I enjoyed it, but now I actually see the hate. I can actually see the hate for this film because it's just not good, that good. And honestly, I kind of don't really have what. I don't have much to say about this movie, but I'll try my best to say whatever I can because I do have some positives and negatives, some redeeming qualities and big issues. First, I'm gonna be talking about the redeeming qualities, the things I liked about this movie. Well, of course, Brian is in this. Yeah, Brian is great. He's my favorite male character in the franchise, even more than Dom. And yeah, so I think Brian easily stole the show here, or at least it's one of the scenes here, because there's another scenes here which I'll talk about shortly. And yeah, yeah, I think Brian is still great, and Paul Walker still gives a pretty good performance, even if it's one of his weaker performances. It's still pretty solid. And and this movie introduces two major characters, Roman and Ted. I don't know how I feel. I honestly don't like Ted in this movie. I'm already saying one of my flaws, but whatever. Yeah, Ted like Ted's hairstyle is so weird. I mean, thankfully he did have the wig on later on, but why does Ted just need a wig, need a wig? That is so weird. But Ronan, no, Roman definitely stole the show here. I mean, he's hilarious, and he has this really good humor with his one-liners. I really enjoyed them, and Tyrese gives like seems like he's having such a blast with his performance. And then there's also this one female character who I really like in this one, but I wish I saw more of her in the franchise. And that is Suki. Yeah, Suki, like this, basically Ted's love interest, who was only appeared in this film but never showed up in this franchise again. Now I wouldn't put her as one of my favorite Fast and Furious characters because there are better ones, but Suki's really underrated. I think she's one of the better characters in this film. And yeah, this the street racing scenes here are better than the first. So I think this might have the best street racing in the entire franchise. Specifically, the opening scene. Yeah, the first scene of this movie is probably my favorite street racing scene in the entire franchise. I mean, just the energy of it all. Just seeing them drive and then put and make it like so over the top and put a little bit of stakes to it, especially with the bridge. That makes some of the racers that crash their cars and see Brian actually get better at this job. Yeah, I really dug that, and the music is better here than the first. So honestly, like I just love this 2000s cheesy music that we're hearing. Like I actually prefer it over the ones in the modern film because I can't really remember the score how how the music in the modern Fast and Furious movies are like, but yeah, whatever. But unfortunately, that's where all the good things end. Now let's get into the now let's get into my real problems with this movie. First of all, yeah, the movie is kind of boring. I mean, yeah, the movie is pretty boring. Like not that boring, but I was uh, bored with the second act just as much as I was bored with the second just as much as I was bored with the middle act in the first film. There's literally only two action scenes in this film, so most of the movie is just spending time on characters just talking, and just this going on this mission that I couldn't really care about. I could really care about. And it's just I completely forgot that a lot of things that happened already. With the exception of the racing scenes, literally the racing scenes and the characters I mentioned are the only are well the highlights. I was gonna say something, but I'm knowing though. Yeah, they're the only things that I certainly remember. But when and also I do remember the plot. Um, but yeah, the middle I just didn't care less about it. It's mainly just um, Brian and romance relationship like, and I don't feel their chemistry at all. I think their chemistry just feels so lackluster because um literally you see like Roman beating up Brian because of their past, but then immediately they just became quote unquote friends. Which yeah, I mean, even though I love both of them as individual characters, when it comes to their chemistry with this film, it just does not work for me. I'm sorry, but it is a word. The story is really nonsensical. Like I will give it that at least I can follow the story easier than the story in the first film, but that doesn't make it any better. As the story is just copying just this cops versus drug lords storylines that you've seen in other movies. It feels more like your average cop movies than a Fast and Furious movie. Like at least the first film felt like a Fast and Furious movies. And say what you want about the modern day Fast and Furious movies, at least they still feel like Fast and Furious movies. I mean, I understand that I don't really want to complain about just the fact that that he's how do I say this yeah, whatever. Just the fact that this storyline takes elements from other movies, but it doesn't have the Fast and Furious feel to it. Like the only time when I I the only time in the movie felt like Fast and Furious is the opening scene and the climax scene. That's it. But this movie feels nothing like Fast and Furious, which is a major problem. Oh yeah. I don't like the villain. I like the scene where the villain puts a bug in this guy's stomach and then puts a bucket to it and like to torture this guy. I like that scene. But unfortunately, this villain comes off as just forgettable, and I'm not gonna remember him. One of the like easily bottom tier Fast and Furious villains. Couldn't care less. And also I hate to say this, but Monica is my least favorite Fast and Furious female character. Yeah, I mean there are so many other female characters that I love, but this one I feel like it kind of under utilizes its female characters. I mean I love Suki. I do love Suki, but she feels underutilized for this entire franchise. Monica just isn't very good. I mean um she's not a good character. She's just your average, I mean, I don't even remember her character. I mean, she barely has any speaking lines. Yes, she's leading this mission, and the fact that Brian and her become like quote unquote become a couple, even though Brian has Mia technically. I feel like Brian and Monica certainly do not work together at all. I think Brian and Mia are perfect together. Like more. And speaking of Mia, where is Dom, Letty, and Mia? I know most people just complain about Dom, but like no one's complaining about Letty and Mia. Like, just shows that people just underestimate female characters nowadays, and it's just kind of annoying. Female characters deserve far more recognition, but whatever. Yeah, like now, yes, at least Brian is in this one. But although if this was a Letty led film, if this was led by Letty, either Letty or Mia, would have been even better. But from what we got, yeah, Brian, at least you have Brian and the introduction of two characters who are going to be the main characters in the future Fast and Furious movies from the fourth film to beyond. But it doesn't feel the same without these three. I mean, literally, I feel like the whole concept of just Brian separating from the family, it should not have been a thing. Like it doesn't work when you don't have the four the four main characters together. Although it's fine if Brian is not in the main character group, but with Dom, Letty, and Mia, because at least you understand that Paul Walker is dead, so they can't really bring this character back. But they really should have put those three in it, which is a major problem. Yeah. So overall, Too Fast Too Furious is a very mediocre, forgettable film. One, it does have some really cool action like set pieces with all the stunts and the racing scenes. and some great characters like Brian, Roman, and Suki. The movie does suffer from a nonsensical story, and it's not as entertaining as it should be. And literally there needs to be like more entertainment to it, like not just all talking and pointless missions. And yeah, yeah, this movie is forgettable overall. So with that said, I'm gonna give Too Fast Too Furious a 5 out of 10. I was debating if I were to give this a 4 or 5, but ultimately it's a 5 out of 10 movie because just because of the racing scene alone, like the opening scene, probably best racing scene in the franchise. So for my review of Too Fast Too Furious, what is your opinion on this movie? Do you agree with me that this movie is forgettable and mediocre? Or are you a defender of this movie? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my rant on the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Yeah, I can't wait to rant on that one because Tokyo Drift is the worst Fast and Furious movie. And I'm sure it'll still hold up as that title on rewatch. Oh boy, wish me luck. So yeah, bye guys.